While online teaching is certainly at the forefront of education today, it's important to remember that it has been around now for more than 25 years. So there are a lot of experienced online teachers out there who can help us learn from their experience. We tapped into this well of experience as we wrote our book, Essentials of Online Teaching, a standards-based guide. In the following video clips, a few of these teachers share what they have learned in response to the question, what advice would you give teachers who are new to online teaching?
The first advice I would give is say, you should probably take an online course or some courses, because becoming a student and taking an online class made me realize that the frustrations of sometimes not understanding what the prof wanted, having problems with technology, or maybe not understanding the objectives. So I got a real sense of what the student would also feel, and that gave me a great compassion when I first started going online totally, when I was teaching online totally, that wow, this is what might happen. So when the students let me know this technology isn't working, or I don't understand what this means, or what software should I use for this, that really gave me a sense that yes, I've already experienced this, so I know that it's authentic and valuable. The other part of my suggestion for or advice for a new teacher online would also be to support yourself or to support others. Maybe create a community, collaborate with others on campus, and share your stories and share the ways that you are solving some problems, or create those places where you could say, this was really successful, maybe you should try this as well. So creating that support community is really helpful. Like I said before, collaboration is so essential between student and teacher and student, but also create a community within your colleagues so that you can share how to do good online instruction. So take an online class, definitely experience that as a student, and also create some supportive communities for yourself and share your experiences on campus.
Be present. You can't overestimate the importance of presence, and how those students' expectations are always, whatever their expectations are, however, they always expect individualized and constant instructor presence. And it's, as I said, using the example of Ruth, where she thought she was being present, but she wasn't. You have to actually be physically, verbally present. That's one thing. At the bottom, the most complaints we get about in student evaluations, of course, is because there were periods, for example, when the instructor was away and they didn't know that he or she was away, and that kind of thing. So that's what else? I think, the things that they really appreciate, I find that I've done, and therefore I've sort of instituted them, are summarizing the discussions, bringing it together. For some of them, it's, these discussions are massive and they can't keep them in their head and they lose track, etc. You can give it accurate. I used to write them and it took forever. I now do a video summary of them, which I feel a little bit, I'm cheating, but it's so much quicker to do it. But it's also, for them, it's more impactful for many of them just to see me giving the summary. But it's never as detailed as the written summaries used to be. So I'm still in two minds about whether I should go back to that. And feedback on the assignments, you can't give them enough. And again, now that there's audio, we have the option of audio feedback. I'm sort of exploring that a little bit more. So you can talk them through the assignment and highlight things at the same time, and then they can follow the screencast, as it were. I think that's an interesting development. I'd like to explore that a little bit more, but it's all part of this thing that feedback. One of the things that's been so popular is this chance to do the assignments twice. So they get first draft feedback take it away, rewrite it, then they represented the thing. And it is 99% of the time, there's vast improvement noted, and everybody's happy. I'm happy because it's less time to grade, and they're happy because they get a good grade. So it's that cycle of, doing, experiencing whatever, collaborating, and then getting some kind of feedback. That scaffolding kind of cycle, I think, is so important. The other thing is, the technology is still, for many people, is still daunting. And however, it is for me, when we made the transition from Blackboard to Canvas last year, my heart sank because I thought, what is this going to involve? What am I going to have to learn? What won't I be able to do? How much help will I need, etc.? And you kind of dread it. And you think, God, what it must be like somebody coming in for the first time. It's just like a jungle. It's just seeing all these different functionalities and systems and techno. What you really want to do is say, and what you discover, of course, when you get into the new system, Canvas, is just the same as the old one. The basic system is just discussions, and you can strip the whole thing away down to about 2 or 3 essential components. So that's it. And I would say to a new teacher, just learn those 2 things. How to kind of put content up if it's not there already, and how to manage discussions, and then you can add stuff as you go along, but just get that right, and then you're away.
My teaching definitely has evolved a lot from the very first time I was teaching in the classroom. That goes well beyond being nervous and not really knowing what I was doing, but I noticed some major changes when I first started teaching online and hybrid, in that they reflected very much what it was like to teach face-to-face for the first time. So I first started teaching in 2005, and I remember that every day before class, I spent so much time lesson planning and reading the textbook before students and thinking of new activities and brainstorming activities and looking them up online, that going into class felt like the less scary part almost. I wanted to be so prepared, because I wasn't prepared, the class would notice, and I'd be exposed as a fraud or not really a teacher or something, I don't know. And as I started teaching online, I had to start doing some of the same process, in the sense that I had to start lesson planning a different way. I couldn't just go based on performance and based on knowledge that I had accrued over several years. I couldn't just go based on some of the same activities where I kind of base it on how students may be vocal that day, or knowing students personally because I see them so often in a class. Instead, I had to start thinking of a different kind of online space and how to engage students there. So I started using more multimodal tools, because I realized that in the digital space, students are they're there already. They're in that digital realm. So why not try to engage them that way? Why not post a video to them in this space? Because in an online class, if they don't see me and they don't know who I am, then it almost becomes like I don't exist. And whenever I don't do that, if I don't connect to students, or if I try to contact people online on a message board, this is something I've done for 15, 20 years, is post on message boards, people can be more mean because they don't know you. They don't know what you look like. They don't care. It doesn't matter. It's not who you are. It's an identity thing. But in the online space, I would be, for classes, I think it's important to be able to establish that.